Our lives have become a maelstrom of misinformation. You hear about all of this fake news and think, yeah, maybe. But if that is fake, couldn't anything be fake? It was that precise notion that caused me to begin to question all things. Over the past several days, I've peeked behind the curtain and I've learned much. For example, did you know the phrase, "when life gives you lemons," isn't as old as you think? Seriously? You've never heard this story? Oh, let's fix that, shall we? Back in the 80s, a guy by the name of Bob White, no relation to Barry, inherited a large piece of land somewhere in Florida. He and his family were living in Colorado at the time on a much smaller piece of property, so, naturally, their first thought was to move to the new, much larger estate. Then they remembered that it was Florida. It's hot there. Very hot, in fact. Their initial excitement was quickly replaced with no thank you. Anyway, the question was what to do with this land. Should they sell it? Keep it? What exactly? Then a thought occurred. Bob, like most adults, had come to despise his career choices. Why not reinvent myself, he thought. That's when he recalled an article that he'd read a few weeks back. The article had explained that while Florida may be uninhabitable for humans, it is a wonderful environment for citrus. Bob decided then and there that he was going to grow oranges. As simple as this may sound now, you have to understand, Bob lived in an era that predated the internet. Can you imagine how difficult that must have been? Driving to his local library, rummaging through Dewey's confounding decimal system, only to be later informed that the knowledge he sought had been checked out and never returned? Dark days, people. Dark, dark days. However, as sad as that may have been, that isn't the crux of Bob's story. No, not at all. You see, lacking the internet as he was forced to order his seeds via the old-fashioned way. He filled out a form, placed it in an envelope, mailed it to the company, who then, over the course of the coming weeks, mailed his order back to him. I only have one question. Who has the time for that? Anyway, in this antiquated system, I'm sure you've recognized the substantial room for error. What happened, you asked? Well, Bob eventually got his seeds. He planted them. He cared for them. Then they grew big and tall, eventually bearing fruit. Oranges? Nope. Lemons. So yeah, that's where the phrase comes from. In a world without the internet, life gave you lemons. And yes, I realize you are likely shouting fake. If you are, you should feel somewhat gratified. All of that, and I simply cannot emphasize this enough, all of that was fake. However, this is a pretty darn good lemon poppy seed pound cake recipe. I mean, come on. Would I lie to you?